Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video on the Dino a Day review series, and we are on to my favorite dinosaur in the entire game, but it's not a dinosaur. So anyways, what is it? Obviously you can see it sitting in front of me here. This is the woolly rhino. Now, this creature existed about 10,000 years ago during the most recent ice age. I mean, I could go on the actual science behind it. Maybe leave a comment below if you'd like me to kind of actually do that in the future. But anyways, let's not do that. So when it comes to Ark, the woolly rhino is a murdering machine of death. Some people are like, oh, they've nerfed it into oblivion. It's not good anymore. It's 100% still a great tame because of its speed, its ability to dole out a ton of damage, and it's just in general crazy stats. Now, this is a base level tame, so there's no imprinting, no anything to it. It kind of depends on what you want to do with yours. I like to have my stamina around 2,000. That's a pretty standard number. Health doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot, but you probably want around 10k if you're going to do some battles and stuff with it. Weight's not a big deal. Movement speed can be good. It kind of depends on what you want. Melee damage, pretty standard melee damage, is to crank it as high as you possibly can. I pretty regularly get mine above 1,000. To give you a comparison, especially on official servers. I know they've got some just stupid ones. I had a buddy tell me a while ago that now obviously I don't know if I believe him, but they had it around 3,000 or 2,000, something like that. And I was like, there's no way, but it's possible, I guess, is a nice way to put it. So obviously you can see this machine of justice right here. This thing is just a murder machine. So basically what you're going to notice is as you run in the middle right-ish section of the screen, you're going to see that little kind of like red heart-ish looking thing. Now what that means is that you are gaining attack power, if you want to call it that. It's kind of gaining momentum is a nicer way to put it. And when you finally use your attack, you're going to dole out a certain percentage of damage, like you see right there. Yes, that is correct. That is 4,000 damage. Now, the higher that little red bar is, the more damage you do, and notice how quickly it charges. It's pretty crazy. You can just send things into oblivion. They are great for PvP because you'll notice how fast they are. Relatively slow stamina drain, so if you are pretty good with one of these things, it's really hard to catch you because you can kind of smack something and then just keep right on moving. Notice that. A lot of dinos require you to stop to do the attack. This guy does not. He will just cruise through anything you ask him to. And it's not even close. Like Shred City is just normal for these rhinos. A lot of people don't like them, but I don't know why. They used to be much more powerful, but nowadays they've kind of been nerfed a little bit. Nothing super heavy, but obviously you can see that if you don't have the right charge, it doesn't do enough damage. It used to be, I think it was like 12 times damage. I think they've dropped it to 8 times damage for the woolly rhino damage output. So, but it does drag over a long distance as you're seeing right now. So it's literally just a murder machine. Now, where are these useful? Now, if you ask me, I would rather have one of these in a PvP fight than a Giga. Now, the reason is very simple. When you're on a Giganotosaurus, you only have so much stamina. You can only go so far. And you can only do so much because you're just raw size. Now, obviously, if you've got a big battle of 10-15 people, having a Giganotosaurus is going to be better than having a Rhino, because having a Rhino when you've got 10-15 people with turrets and all kinds of stuff is a little more dangerous because it's easier to get shot off the back of one of these things. There's no protection. So getting sniped is pretty regular on this. But if you're moving pretty quick and dodging left and right, it's pretty hard to hit somebody on the back of one of these things. Now, what else should we watch out for? Now, believe it or not, this guy can kind of harvest a little bit as well. So if you go through berries, you can get a decent amount by just swinging. You can get thatch as well. Wood sometimes happens, but it's very uncommon. I don't think I've seen wood. Yeah, there it is. Just a tiny bit. He pretty much exclusively gets thatch from trees. Nothing outside of that is shocking, though. He gets a good amount of berries. Nothing great, though. You're not going to want to use him for berry gathering purposes. I'll take him over to like the berry spot on this map in a second here, and I'll show you what I mean. But that's kind of that. So highly, highly useful for pretty much everything you would need. Also very useful for boss fights because of the fact that you can feed them veggie cakes. Now I forgot to mention that. When your Rhino is low on health, you can feed it veggie cakes because, you know, it's really overpowered already to have veggie cakes. Like for a Therizino, why not add it to the Rhino, you know? Because you can. Now, with the Rhino, because it can eat that veggie cake, it means their health regeneration is just bonkers. It is something that is just out of control. They are really, really amazing for that purpose because they can just, you know, soak and soak and soak and soak damage. Not from turrets, obviously, but from like a Giganotosaurus. If you're fighting one, a good Rhino will one-tap enrage a Giga. Now you can kind of just go around and see why, because it does so much damage. And obviously if someone's got a good saddle, mate imprint, all that kind of stuff, it'll be more difficult. But because they have such a high damage output, it is very easy to enrage a Giga with one of these things. You can see that this is a wild one, 4,000 damage. If you can imagine additional bonus imprinting status. And then you can add in the X-Rhino. X-Rhino gets an extra 4% damage, which a lot of people are like, that's not that much. Well, when you have 1,000 attack damage, that's an extra 40 points. So that's not too shabby. That's probably going to give you an extra 400 damage. So that's a lot, actually, all things being considered. So let's go ahead and show you how good it is at gathering berries, because I told you I'd bring you over here. This is the berry field over on Ragnarok. And we're going to go ahead and turn a hard right. As it turns out, it's not that bad. So this is on 1 times. Okay, so, you know, I stand corrected. It might be worth it to try and gather berries with a woolly Rhino, because, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of berries. So I guess it's reasonable. As long as you have your charge going, you can do the berry fields over on Ragnarok. I still think I'd rather take a Brontosaurus, but, you know, it's up to you what you do. Just to show you, though, here's a turret. Am I going to be able to get close enough to it? No, they're not on right now. Is this one on? There it goes. So you'll notice that if it's aimed at the Rhino, there's no real protection, so you will get hit by splash damage from tech turrets. And you'll also, from regular turrets, there's nothing hiding you from turret line of sight, so you will get shredded by turrets on this thing. So be careful about that. But outside of that, man, I'm telling you, this woolly Rhino is probably the most dangerous and by far my favorite tame in the game. If this had the ability to somehow gather meat, I would 100% use it to gather meat and as my only tame. But you can see that it's just a murder fest. Adding a vulture on your shoulder, adding a Daimo on your shoulder, adding a Mesopithecus because they throw poop is a great way to kind of add a little bit of extra stuff to your game. You're going to notice right now 3 swings and I'm slot capped almost. So not slot capped, encumbered. Sorry, my bad, wrong word. But you can see what I'm doing. It's just a shred fest. It's monster. I wonder if these are still in my tribe. I don't think so. Aha! Just to show you how much damage they do. You'll notice this is a tamed Tapiara, and I just about killed it, and it's probably got 10k health. Mind you, there's no saddle on it, but I mean 4,000 damage. Yep, there it is a lot of damage. No matter who you are, that is going to hurt. You can see that's a level 313 Tapiara. You can just... Yeah, let's go ahead and look at how much health it had. It had 10,000 health. So, 10,000 health, obviously a saddle's going to reduce that damage output quite a bit, but still, 10,000 health in 2 hits is not shabby. Now this one does have a saddle, so let's go ahead and figure out how much we do to it. 2,700, so that is not bad at all. And then if you're good at what you do, you can kind of do what I'm doing right now and keep just these mini circles going. And swing them on the side. Now your goal is to obviously not lose that momentum bonus. If you lose that momentum bonus, you do a lot less damage. So that's something that you should keep an eye out for. But always hit that straight away because it's very easy to acquire that max damage. There's 2,700. We'll do another UE here. And we're just going to keep swinging away. So at 2,700 damage per shot on I think it's a Prim saddle, so it's got, what, 40 armor on it? Let's look. Primitive Tapiara saddle, 45 armor. So on a 45 armor saddle, I'm still doing 2,800 damage. Now, obviously, that's a lot. This thing's a murder machine, so you should definitely use it. Outside of that, I can't stress it enough. This thing is probably my favorite tame in the game because of that damage output, because it's something that's just, I wouldn't say it's off meta, but when people are really good with a woolly rhino, it's awful, because picking them, because they've probably got all kinds of counters on them and stuff like that, is really difficult. And as soon as they get you on the ground, see ya, because this will run down any survivor and then just one tap you into oblivion. I mean, 4,000 damage. Let's see how much this wyvern does, huh? We'll do this last battle here. Aha. Boom. You can see it. It's a shredding fest, obviously. So, anyways, I do hope this video helps you out. And other than that, teach out.